I love Heat Pedal to Metal, but I wish I could race on any track, not just the ones in the base game or expansions. What if there was a way to race any major circuit in the world? Well, there is. These are custom-made tracks from die-hard fans around the globe. There are over 60 fan-made tracks available to download for free on boardgamegeek.com. Today I'm showing you how to make these amazing fan-made tracks into actual game boards. I'll be making boards for Heat, but these techniques work for any board game. And if you don't feel like doing it yourself, I will show you another solution at the end of the video. I'll also tell you my honest opinion on how good I think these fan-made tracks actually are. Heat Pedal to the Metal is an amazing racing game from Days of Wonder, and it's one of my absolute favorites. Unfortunately, my partner Ronja isn't a big fan, because she's a nervous driver. Go to boardgamegeek.com, search for Heat Pedal to the Metal, then scroll down to the files section. Here you'll find 2 top files, but there's much more good stuff available. Play raids, 3D printed gearboxes, car dividers, and tons of cool circuits. Since every printer is different, I won't go into detail about all the print settings I used. Just make some test prints and line them up with the original board to make sure the dimensions match and the racing car fits. I went with the glossy photo paper because it really makes the colors pop. The one downside is that it can be a bit reflective, but hopefully that won't be an issue during gameplay. The thickness I used was 170 gram. The results looked promising, but I also decided to print on regular thick paper to compare the two. Once I dialed in the right settings and got the hang of things, that's when the madness started. I wanted this map that looked amazing, and then why not the same track but without the rain? Let's take this, and I want this one, and this, and why not this one? This is good. It's easy to get carried away when the machine is doing all the heavy lifting. I really pushed the printer to the limits, but then again, you don't need to go crazy like me. Let's just say I got a little too excited and completely ignored the fact that I'd have to cut and glue all of this together in the next step. I'm using a cutting mat and a rotary cutter, though a sharp craft knife works just as well. Some tracks come pre-split and have margins along the edges that needed to be trimmed. I quickly figured out that instead of completing the cut in one go, you want to save the margin and use it to line up the next cut. A couple of podcasts later, I was finally done. Then it was time for the cardboard. I didn't have the standard 2mm grey board on hand, so I used this instead. It's also 2mm, but noticeably harder to cut through. And getting every piece to a perfect A4 size, it was challenging. So I definitely recommend using proper grey board if you can. As you can imagine, all of this was pretty time consuming, which got me thinking there had to be a faster way. So I ordered some pre-cut A4 grey boards from Amazon. I went with 1mm thickness since it was significantly cheaper than the 2mm. But as you can see, it's quite flimsy. But as long as it lays flat on the board, I don't mind. I also wanted to try these 80 gram self-adhesive paper sheets.
and I figured out how to set the printer to print borderless, meaning it prints all the way to the edge of the paper. This saves a lot of time since I only need to trim about 1 mm on the occasional sheet where the print didn't quite reach the edge. To assemble the boards, I used bookbinding tape to join the pieces together. I leave links to everything I used down in the description below, if you want to try this yourself.
I'm not sure what the best method is for gluing the prints onto the cardboard, but I have at least 2 ways I want to try out. The first one is simply removing this backing layer and placing the self-adhesive paper directly onto the cardboard. In the other method, I'll use spray glue. I don't know why, but I'm a little bit nervous to try this method. So let's just make this board first. The only thing I need to get right is lining up the paper on the cardboard, which is easier said than done.
Everything went smoothly, and I was happy with the result. Until the next day, when I noticed what happens if you place the papers too close to each other. So if you try this, make sure to leave a tiny gap between the papers where they fold into each other. Now onto the spray glue. I've actually tried this technique before, but back then I was making smaller tiles for Mansions of Madness. It was easy to line up the print because the glue didn't harden immediately, giving you time to adjust the paper until it lines up perfectly. And this shows that you can make great looking boards if you manage to line up the print. Working with a glue that adheres instantly is very difficult, as you can see here. I really regret not using the brand I used last time. But eventually I managed to fit all the pieces together despite the glue fighting me the whole way. All things considered, I'm actually really happy how it turned out. In conclusion, buying pre-cut grey boards will save you a lot of time, and printing on self-adhesive paper is very convenient. The trade-off is that you won't get the vibrant colors you'd get from printing on photo paper. And personally, I prefer the look of the photo printed board. Regardless of which method you go with, I highly recommend buying the pre-cut grey boards. They save so much time, and you can be confident that everything will be the right size, which makes the board fold nicely once it's finished. But is all this work really worth it for some fan-made tracks? If you enjoy Heat and feel like more tracks are the main thing you're looking for, I definitely recommend picking some of these up. Most of them seem very well made, and a lot of them even work with the legends. If I were to get the boards professionally printed, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference from the official ones. And speaking of professionally printed game boards,
I reached out to Deep Cut Studio, who makes custom printed mats, and they were kind enough to send me 2 mats to review. And just to be clear, they didn't pay me anything, so this is my honest opinion about these mats as an alternative. They offer 3 different options, but I chose their mousepad option. I like that you can get a double-sided mat, which saves space, since we all know storing mats can be awkward. One concern I have is how the corners will hold up long term. They seem well glued, but I haven't had them long enough to say for sure. If you're worried about the print separating from the mousepad, you can pay extra for stitched edges. I like the printing quality and think it looks great. I really like the look and feel of these mats, and they definitely add luxurious elements to a game. But one thing I noticed is that the colors did change compared to the original file, but it's possible that their other printing options perform better. When compared to my homemade version, the yellow appears more orange and the roads aren't as black. And my print looks more color accurate. This doesn't bother me, but if color accuracy is important to you, this is worth knowing. As I said, I really like the look and the feel of these mats, and the service they provide is very cool. Being able to print your custom designs is very useful. The shipping was fast and the support while ordering was extremely helpful. They were very patient and knowledgeable and guided me through the process of sending the files in the correct format, so that ordering was easy.
If you compare the cost of these mats versus doing it yourself, it's not that expensive when you factor in the material costs and your time. It's definitely possible to make great looking boards at home, but these gaming mats are very hard to beat in terms of quality.
If you've ordered from Deep Cut Studio or made your own game board, let me know your experience in the comments. Like and subscribe, and I see you in the next one.